Hi everyone, welcome back to the Morehammer podcast, your weekly fill of all things wargaming and Warhammer, where we look at everything from the past week in terms of Warhammer news, and also have a look towards what might be coming as well. More of that later on. I'm your host Simon, aka Hobby Waffle, and as usual, I'm joined by my esteemed colleague Ben, aka 90% Geek, and for the benefit of those of you listening on audio, he is wearing a rather fitting White Dwarf t-shirt again. Welcome Ben, how are you?
I'm good. It's my March from McCrag t-shirt. What would be more appropriate for March from McCrag? For those who can't see on the Spotify, it's a Tyrannid t-shirt.
And this week we have another guest on the show as well. We've got Miniatures Apothecary, aka Matt. Welcome and thank you for joining us.
No, welcome. Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
How you doing, bud?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I don't appreciate the Tyrannid march on McCrag, like, at all. Like, no.
Somewhere Nick Baton is going to be turning it inside out. We'll have to make sure he sees this one.
Yeah, definitely.
So what we always do when we've got a guest on the show, even though you're only our second guest, is we always ask a question. And the question is, if you were deserted on a desert island or stuck on a desert island, shipwreck, whatever you want to call it, and money was no object, and you've got all the paints, glues, brushes, and everything you need, basically all your hobby supplies, what dream kit or dream box set would you choose to get stranded with?
There's too many.
There is. We said that when we started, but yeah. Anything from it doesn't even have to be a Games Workshop kit. I suppose you could choose anything.
Very true.
Yeah, that is very true. Yeah, okay.
You can choose three.
Just give you more options to make it even easier for you. Give you more
even
options.
easier. Yeah. Do you know what? I'm going to be dead boring. The new Mark III Heresy Marines. They were an absolute joy to both build and paint. The new sculpts for them are
salamanders.
Yeah, I did mine as salamanders. Yeah,
saw those. Very cool.
Yeah, I'm holding off for the Shattered Legion rules and stuff to see whether I can do something fancy there. So I've got some stockpiled away for Iron Hands, Raven Guard, whatever I can fit in there to make something nice and thematic and fluffy.
So the new ones, not the classic plastic. I know it's hard to call them classic and they're only a few years old, but the classic plastic 3rd edition. Why the new ones over the classic?
Smoother lines.
Okay.
It's the smoother lines.
The scale's pretty good as well, isn't it?
Yeah, the scale's pretty good as well. Not to rant, but like,
no, by all means, rant away.
I wasn't a big fan of Primaris when they first came out. It took quite a bit of convincing from our local Games Workshop manager to get me to try them. And when I did, I realized, like, okay, they are a bigger scale. There's a lot more detail, and obviously the scale as you get older is a bit better for your eyes. And I feel the same way about the new Mark III. They are easier to paint because the scale is that little bit bigger. There's a lot smoother lines. The sculpt is a lot more defined. And yeah, overall, they were just, I mean, the way that they go together as well is a lot nicer. I haven't tried converting or bits bashing any of them yet. So that's to be seen. But if I was just going to build, like, I like my tactical, as a Heresy player, I like my tactical squads. Like, they are your bread and butter. Big 20-man blob squads, great stuff. They pull your weight of your army. So yeah, I'm going to stick with with that. That would be my choice.
Wasn't challenging it. It was I like the new Mark IIIs, except for the helmets. I prefer the helmets on the older Mark IIIs.
Yeah, the new Mark IIIs, I put the old helmets.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah. So
one squad I did with the old helmets, and one squad I've done with the new helmets. I could go either way, but I prefer the older helmets. Yeah.
It was an interesting choice to give them all the spike, like the pickle style spike.
Pickle approach.
No.
Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah.
It's an interesting aesthetic. I mean, you look at like some of the older artwork and stuff that was originally done for the Heresy, and there was, those helmets with the pike on.
Yeah, like collected visions and stuff. There was loads, weren't there?
Yeah, there was loads.
Cool.
So,
all right. Well, I think we've established that one. So just before we crack on, then a bit of housekeeping. We are available on Spotify as well. So if you prefer listening to your podcast rather than watching on YouTube, or you want to just listen to us while you're at the gym or whatever, please do have a listen on Spotify because that does help us out an awful lot. And also as well, we've got a Discord server, so come along and join that. We're doing March from McCrag as well. So post your stuff on there, post your hobby stuff, or just talk hobby and Warhammer, whatever you want to do. But please do come along to the Discord server. So anyway, moving on next. Hobby roundup. What has everybody been doing? What games have you played? What hobby you've been doing over the last week? Ben, should we start with you?
Yeah, sure. So on the list of things I've been doing is getting my hobby room back. Anyone who's watched any of my recent videos from the last couple of months, I've been bemoaning the fact that I've been banished from my games room because it was full of mead from my wife's side business. But no more. The mead has now all been safely stashed away, so I've been kind of bustling around and reorganizing things. Like, oh, this has to go here and this has to go there. But the other thing I have been doing is I've been painting some Halfling Blood Bowl miniatures.
Nice.
So Sai, myself, and Luke have all agreed we're going to put together a tiny person team for Blood Bowl. We're going to play a little league called the Small Nations at some point. A little 3-man, like the 3 nations, but only small. So I'm doing halflings for that, and I've been gleefully painting them up in the Welsh rugby kit colours.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to get the star player mounted on a sheep to go with them.
Brilliant.
Oh, I love it. That's brilliant.
I'm going to have to do something when those gnome Blood Bowl players come out now, aren't I?
We're definitely going to have to get the fisherman dude, the one with the little fishing rod.
Oh,
he's
absolutely.
Really cool.
Yeah. Rodney Roach bit.
Yeah.
Have you played any games, or have you just been doing your hobby room and the halfling?
Literally sorting stuff out here. It's like 3 months of just stuff being kind of piled in heaps on the ends of counters and stuff. So it's been kind of sorting stuff out, putting stuff in my cabinet again, and getting like kind of dusted and sorted out until I'm happy with it. That's what I've been up to. What have you been up to, Si?
Just Epic Ultramarines is the only bit of hobbying that I've been doing over the last week, really. I haven't really got an awful lot done compared to last week. No gaming either for me. Work's been pretty hectic over the last week, but I have managed to get some more little tiny Ultramarines done. So I'm about a third of the way through the box now. I've got the tanks all base coated and dry brushed and shaded, but I just need to paint all the details, all the exhaust and the tank tracks and what have you. So I'm doing that.
They're all Mark 6 as well, because it's Legions Imperialis ones.
Yes, they're all Mark 6, yeah.
They don't. Luckily, you don't have to paint the shoulder rims on them.
Oh, I wouldn't anyway. Yeah, no, I wouldn't be painting the children's. I might try and pick out some of the bonding studs on the left shoulder.
Yeah.
And I am going to attempt some sort of white blob that might look like an Ultramarine chapter symbol on each one. See how far I can go with them, really.
I have got an epic Blood Angel. Well, only a few little units I've painted for my epic Blood Angels, but those are proper epic scale.
Oh, yeah.
I painted the shoulder rims on those. I'll throw a picture up in the Discord if anyone wants to see that.
Oh, excellent.
So don't come at me with I expect to see proper little Ultramarine Ultimas on the shoulder pads of your
checkerboard.
Your ginormous.
I'm staying out of this. I just watch you two going out like, nope.
No, but that's what I've been up to. Go on then, Matt. What have you been up to last week, hobby-wise?
Where do you want me to start?
Just give us a
rank. We can go through to the end and then stop.
Well, I'll go backwards. Currently on the table is some 6th edition fantasy spearmen, which we were kindly donated before Christmas. I have the entire 6th edition box set, so it's like, okay, I'm going to start with the Empire and see how far I get.
And salivating there, is it?
Crew anniversary miniature, Ripper Jackson.
Seen that on the Discord. Very nice.
And a lot of Marines, like, I don't know, another 10 to 15 more Iron Warriors to add to the Grand Battalion, and about 1,000 points worth of Imperial Guard. There you go.
Not a lot then.
Not a lot. Just in comparison to my normal output, a small amount. Yeah, quite a bit. I've been enjoying the. I had to get certain things out of the way, like Ripper Jackson and the crew. I had to get them out of the way. Like follow the dopamine. I'm really looking forward to the new crew, so I had to just get it done. And now I'm sort of relaxed, a bit more relaxed in my setup. So it's just taking the Empire guys one at a time.
Yeah.
Don't feel like I'm rushing as much, so I don't feel like I'm going to make a lot of mistakes, and then there's a lot of back and forth. I mean, they're not special. They're not for like showpieces or anything. It's battle. It's tabletop ready. So just lots of contrasts and stuff. But it's been fun playing around with like contrasts a bit more, as opposed to just whipping it on, watering them down, or trying different combinations as well has been a lot of fun. So yeah,
they are quite workable once you figure out what each contrast paint can do, because some are different, aren't they? Some are a lot darker, some are more transparent. I used for the Ultramarines, I ended up, the shade that I found that worked was Leviathan blue, with quite a bit of contrast medium in, to make it quite almost like a wash. Then all over the tanks, and it doesn't pool anywhere if you thin it right down with contrast medium. It just settles in the recesses, and it works quite well. But that was trial and error to find that one out. But you've been getting quite a bit done. I saw you Ripper Jackson, really nice. I love that miniature anyways.
I was going to say same principle for contrast Black Templar. Like if you use a bit of Lamium medium, like 2-to-1 ratio, whack that over something metallic, particularly like when I've been doing Iron Warrior tanks, like just whack that over, and it doesn't pool at all. It's been brilliant.
Just like a nicer version of Null Nile.
Yeah, because the new Null Nile recipe is pants.
It's different.
It's different, yeah. Like if I use that, it takes 2 to 3 coats to get the same effect that I had before they changed the recipe, or I use the contrast version, in which case it's 1 coat and I'm done. And I forgot something as well, because you've mentioned March on McCrag. I did start on a new Nemesis chapter Praetor as well.
Ooh, nice.
Nemesis chapter, sweet.
Last year, like I don't know what it was, just something happened last year, and I was just like, you know what? I've always wanted to do Nemesis chapter. Our local sponsor, Mayfield Miniatures, had in some secondhand Mark II jump pack Marines, and I was like, I'm having them. I've got spare bolt pistols. Let's make a destroyer unit. And as usual, it was like, I'm going to make a test mini, and now I've got 1,000 points worth of Nemesis Marines.
It's one of those ones you don't see very often. When I was researching the Primogenitor chapters for my Successor series, it's like Nemesis. Obviously, they come from the Nemesis company, from the Ultramarines Legion. They were literally that's the name of the company they were lifted from. But you just don't see them. I mean, it's really kind of a rare one.
No. They're an interesting faction.
This is the first time I've
like an interesting sub faction.
Awesome. You'll have to share some pictures of them on the Discord so we can get a look at them.
Get prepared to be spammed by pictures of rusty Ultramarines, I guess.
No, I spam away. That's awesome. Right then, cool. Hobby roundup done then. Go on.
One quick question. What province are you going for on your Empire Spearman?
I'm going for a mix.
Color scheme?
So I'm going for a mix. I'm going with a mix of Osterland and Ostmark.
Cool.
I just couldn't decide on one. And it was like talking with some friends that are really heavily into fantasy, and it's like, just do a combined force.
Yeah.
And obviously with the new setting, and it's the time of the 3 emperors and everything, it's like it gives me that opportunity to mix in like some Middenheim troops at some point, and like the priests of Ulrich and things like that. So have a nice mix.
No, I'm following a similar principle for my. I've done my Empire as a 5th edition army, but obviously you can use it for 6th or Old World, whatever, if you do converter bases. So I picked Averland as my main province, but I'm painting one of each unit type in Averland colours, and then everything else, if I want to have multiples of it, I'm picking a different province. Yeah. So you get a mix of, I've got some Archdorf halberdiers and some Averland halberdiers, some like Hochland handgunners and some Nuln handgunners and some Averland handgunners, because who doesn't want handgunners? They're brilliant.
Because they're absolutely fantastic. Why
exactly.
Not? Yeah, I get that. Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah, having mixes it feels a little bit more.
That's how the Empire Army was portrayed in the 5th edition book. Certainly, it was everything was painted. That means where the heavy metal team were doing it, but everything was done from different kind of parts of the Empire to represent Sigmar's forces, kind of all coming together as a united empire.
Yeah, it feels more natural to have them in the different color schemes and the different heraldry, as opposed to one heraldry and that's it.
And it looks cool.
Yeah, I'm just going to say it looks great on the tabletop as well.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Right, hobby roundup done then. It's time to do the news, as Ben would say.
And now the news.
Correct. So we'll start off with what we've seen on Sunday night. So Sunday roundup. Ben, I'm going to let you take the lead on this one. So I'm just going to get the screen up so everyone can see it. So if you just bear with me a second.
To anyone who hears a high-pitched squeaking
is-
noise, it's just me getting overexcited.
Yeah, it's not Skaven. We'll come to that. It is a tide of green. Orcs and goblins,
so cool.
tribes, the battalion box is coming for a pre-order next Saturday. So what do you think, guys?
Well, I mean, talking about you've got your hands on a copy of the 6th edition box, you've probably got most of these then, Matt.
Yeah, so we've already
box.
we've obviously got the 6th edition side of the Orcs, and then Mrs. A is the green skin side of things, and she already has quite a vast army of green skins already. This is just this just adds to it. It's like there's too many. I'm as a dwarf player, I feel kind of overwhelmed. Like there's too many green skins.
You will get your time very soon, I am sure.
This week.
So what do we get in the box? It's roughly the same as the Bretonian, isn't it? 73 miniatures, is it?
Kind of, yeah. So it's 31 Orc boys, and some of those are armed with kind of two-handed choppers. Some of them are armed with bows, and then you get 40 goblins and 2 boar chariots. The boys aren't actually. I thought initially they were the monopose boys that you got in the 6th edition box.
No.
The archers are the monopose archers that you got in the 6th edition
I think the boys are from the actual boys kit.
The boys are the multi-part boys kit that was released way back in the late 90s and has basically been around ever since.
Moved down.
Likewise, the goblins are the old 90s ones, but
so
this is
guy,
brand new.
This is new, isn't it? Big Orc. Yeah,
he's very cool.
That's a war boss, like there.
Black Orc, big boss in Forge World resin. Apparently, that is pretty awesome.
No, he's lovely. And I mean, bear in mind he's up against the re-release of the old Forge World Command Orc war boss that we'll see slightly further down this page in a minute. Yeah, and I still think he's nicer than that one. And that one was cool.
I agree with Ben. Like that, he's still nicer. Yeah.
But so he's brand spanking new. I did wonder if he was going to turn out to be a special character model, but it doesn't sound as though he will from the stuff that was put up on the Warhammer community site today.
So let's have a look. Next, we've got the Orc War Boss on Wyvern. So talk us through this one, Ben. Which one's this?
So this was released at the launch of 6th edition. This was released when the Orc Army book was released. It was originally a metal wyvern with the plastic dragon wings, and a metal war boss on. And one of the most annoying things about this war boss, incidentally, is his helmet has 3 big jutting horns on it, and each of those was a tiny individual piece that you had to glue on. I have this war boss. Not surprisingly, he is missing his horns. I had to replace them with just like other random spikes. What I think is particularly cool about this, though, so he is being brought back in Forge World resin, but the wings are still it says here the plastic dragon wings on the dragon sprue. Now, part of where my brain went with this is, well, okay, hang on a minute, Games Workshop. If you can release the classic plastic dragon wings, can we just get the classic plastic dragon re-released in plastic?
I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
No, he's cool though. He's very, very cool. He's a long-serving miniature, but he is the war boss in particular is a beautiful sculpt.
Yeah, it's nostalgia kick. That is a serious nostalgia kind of click right there. It's like you want to see something really, really cool from back in the day. Ta-da!
It gives me hope for Azhag the Slaughterer coming back as well. And
then
we've got a Zitrol Hag. This was Forge World, wasn't it? And then again, it's coming back in resin.
She was released under the Monstrous Arcanum run of Forge World stuff in kind of, I think, end of 7th, beginning of 8th edition.
Yeah.
One of my friends, Gary, from Arbiter Ian's Tale of 4 Gamers, actually has her in his Orc and Goblin army. He brought her to the 5th edition event I ran last year and just used her as a giant. I've seen her in person. She is glorious. I mean, kind of all the detail, kind of the little kind of like barnacles and warts and stuff are scattered all over. She's both hideous and beautiful at the same time in terms of just the depths of sculpting on her.
Mrs. Apothecary is biting at the bit to get hold of that miniature. Like, she got into the hobby and that was still on Forge World. And then not long afterwards, when she'd found her love for trolls, it got taken off and it was like, and now it's come back. It's like she's biting a bit for this one.
Well, and
Did
we
you
got
see it in the cabinets, Matt, at the open day. You know when the Old World launched. This was in the cabinet with all the orcs.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
We got word in the Old World Almanac today that she's obviously going to have her own rules in the Arcane Journal, but she'll also have her own spell lore. Yeah, troll magic.
Swamp. Was it swamp
magic?
Swamp magic.
Yeah, but so she's going to get her own spell lore. The only other character that will have access to it aside from her is there's an orc. One of the 2 orc special characters that's going to be in there is an orc shaman that was raised by a troll hag, like literally kind of nursed at the kind of saggy waterish bosom of the troll hag on troll milk, and therefore can do troll magic. It's a really cool piece of detail. I don't know if they're going to get like a unique model for that, or if they'll just use the way the picture that they used for that was the classic orc with bone club shape.
So there is the character you're talking about, the Ogdra's swamp digger, and there is a miniature for him.
Is there? Awesome.
There is actually a miniature for him. Yes, I will stick a miniature in. I will stick a picture in the Discord for you to see, Ben.
Yeah, we'll try. There is
actually, he was announced already.
Oh wow! Okay, I must have missed that. This is the classic Forge World command sets that I mentioned before. So this is the really cool kind of banner bearer with the wing. The banner is basically a wyvern wing with like a dwarf troll slayer draped across it.
Yeah, and then that's the Orc right there, isn't it?
Oh, it's a grudging.
It's a grudging, is that? It's going in the book. I mean, Ben will appreciate this. It is literally going in the book.
It's a book of grudges.
That's pretty awesome. I've got to admit, these were when they first announced it. These 2 were 2 of the ones that really caught my eye. And I was like, "Ooh, can't afford Orcs and Goblins. I can't afford Orcs and Goblins." But yeah, I like these a lot.
The one I don't remember out of all these is the shaman with the smoke.
Yeah, no, he was part of the same 3 model set when they released. Because when I first looked at it,
I don't even remember it.
The paint job was really bad on the. Apologies to whoever painted it on the original release. The original release back in 7th edition, the paint job was not great. Like the smoke, they painted it as green as well, and you kind of looked at it and went, "Well, where does the smoke end and the goblin begin?" It wasn't clear. This one they've done really nicely, kind of a whitish purple smoke, and it's very clear that the goblin's kind of drifting up on this cloud of like fungus fumes or something.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. These are going to be all Forge World resin as well, aren't they? Were some of them metal originally? I think
no, they were all resin.
Oh, right, okay. Okay, moving on then. And then we've got some classic Orcs coming back in plastic. And this is where you went a bit daft, isn't it, Ben? Did some of them got paper banners? Or was that later on?
These ones don't. No, these are the classic. This was a 2-model box set, Orc command box set they did. That was, again, kind of the offset against, I think, Elves and Empire both got the same kind of thing. Yeah. You got essentially a banner bearer and a warlord, and the option to do one on foot and one unmounted. So that I've got that set kicking around already. My battle standard bearer is on that boar.
The other one is remember that guy on the boar. Yeah, I remember seeing.
Yeah, no, he's cool. He's bigger than the other boars as well. And it's when you see him next to the resin boar mounted character that they had at the time, Gorban Ironclaw one, which was even bigger and even bigger tusks. I'm really hoping he gets a re-release. He's not been shown yet, but I am hoping. The other one is it's those multi-part Orcs again. These are
so they're the ones that are going to be in the battalion box. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. 31. That's same as what's in the battalion. And here you go. These are the ones with the paper.
These are the ones that made me go a little bit silly. Yes. So this is the Orc bigger models. Oh god, these are ancient. I mean, these must be 33 years old, something like that. I think 1989 they came out.
I was going to say these are from like the early days of 4th edition, aren't they? If not before.
Yeah, no, I think these are the early 90s because they were 4th edition models. They are just so cool, though. They kind of really kind of goblin-y, bat-eared orc heads before they became the kind of the lantern-jawed ones that are basically typified by the shaman with the bone club that you can see lurking over their shoulder. He incidentally was kind of the first of that new breed of big square-jawed orcs that are completely recognizable now throughout kind of all of 40k and everything all kind of originates from him. He was the first of that new style of sculpted orcs. These are kind of the last of that older style, kind of slightly creepy Grimm's fairy tale style fantasy orcs. And I just love them so much. I never got them back then. I don't know how much they're going to cost now. Probably lots, but I'm still going to buy them.
There's so much more character to them as well. Like you look at the faces, there is so much more character.
And they come with a paper banner, and that's a silly thing to be getting. I'm hoping that the banner is sticky backed. I'm hoping like literally you do like all my dwarves have got the original sticky backed banners where you peel them off the thing and then fold it over and glue them to itself. I'm really hoping this is the same.
What I love about these as well is old miniatures, but given a modern day paint job, and I think really brings them to life. Because you look at some of these old miniatures in like the pages of an old white dwarf, and the paint job's not as good, and people's skills weren't as good now, but they just look so much better with a brand new paint job.
Well, that's one of the things I've been finding. I've been working through. I'm on my third 5th edition army now, the Empire army, and the older models take the new paints so well. Like old metal models love contrast paint. It just kind of soaks into all the little crevices and brings all the detail popping to life.
Speaking of old models.
Yeah. So we've got here a whole host of classic Goblin models. This is when they did, I think, again, this was the 7th edition Orc and Goblin release, when they went a little bit nutty and went, here, let's just do loads of shamans and chieftains and bosses, and let's create a whole new type of Goblin assassin character called the Sneaky Skulkers.
I love the assassin in the bottom right corner with his little
Sneaky Skulkers were awesome.
They're still awesome. In the old world rules, they're really cool as well. I mean, kind of positioning them in a unit and then they kind of get to backstab people. They're really cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I'm like literally looking and like from memory trying to figure out how many of these the missus has already got and how many of them I'm going to have to buy her.
All of them, of course. You can never have too many goblins.
Let's see what we've got next. I think it's the
Wolf Chariot.
Oh, the Wolf Chariot.
They
all see. I remember this one from when I first started in Warhammer Fantasy, and it was always the front out the 3 with the massive grin on his face that I think a lot of the more modern Goblin miniatures you see and the more modern sculpts don't have anymore. They all have cheeky grins, but just full of teeth.
His teeth are bigger than the rest of his head.
Creepy grin.
Yeah.
Like literally 2/3 of his head are just a giant goblin fanged grin.
Like that's what I remember when I first got into Warhammer, fantasy specifically. Any bit of artwork to do with goblins was teeth were bigger than their own head. Like they were very, gnashy. Yeah. Even like Night Goblin artwork. But now it's weird. Like
it's all
characters seem to have the big teeth.
They snarl now, don't they? Rather than big teeth.
And they've all got giant noses now, whereas before it was more about the teeth.
Yeah.
These ogres. Oh, these ogres. And again, they come with a paper banner.
Yeah.
I am in a quandary over these ogres because I was all geared to do the Wargames Atlantic plastic ogres for my Empire army. And then they put these up and I'm like, no, don't make me choose because these are so awesome.
You must choose.
Ben, how long is your eBay list, Ben, to make some money?
Oh, God. I have to start just flogging some stuff now to make more cash for this.
And then we've got some more down here.
More metal. And the snotlings in particular. You have to click on the snotlings and open those up. They are worth a peek.
I think we can.
Click on them. These are so sweet. Look at them. Look at them. They are the old snotling.
Yeah, I was going to say, these are the really old ones, aren't they?
That's it. When they chose to bring the snotling miniatures back in metal, they chose the really old snotling metal miniatures, which I think is awesome.
Pump wagon.
Not the old pump wagon. It's an awesome pump wagon, but it is not the 5th edition kind of little wooden shed on wheels pump wagon.
I think I preferred the wooden shed on wheels, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, because that one actually had a kind of the minecart style little kind of 2 handles plying up and down.
This is one of my favourites. The Doom Diver. It's brilliant. It's just the whole concept of it.
Doesn't have one of these. She needs one of these.
Insanely green skin. It's just amazing.
I think she's got 2 of them.
Excellent.
At the moment, she's got 2, but no doubt she will want more.
We've got the rock lobber, haven't we? And the bolt.
Yeah. Yep.
Paper banners as well.
So the trolls. Those trolls, are they from? They look like they're from one of the box sets. Did they release them?
Kind of. So the Battle for Skull Pass 7th edition box set came with a plastic troll like that,
Yeah.
which was just marketed as a common troll. And then
Yeah,
later in
wasn't it
7th,
holding
they
its hammer
released...
above its head or something?
It was holding like a rock
Yeah.
double-handed over its head. It was like a dwarven
That's right.
statue that had been smashed. So later on in 7th, they released these 2 models to go with him so that you could make a unit of 3 common trolls, because unlike 5th and 6th edition, where you had to kind of choose to upgrade them to stone trolls or river trolls, 7th, you could have common trolls, river trolls, or stone trolls, which I'm assuming, given that they've said they're going to re-release the metal stone troll and metal river trolls and made to order, you will still be able to do in the troll country list that's coming in.
They were on show in the cabinet at the open day.
They're so cool. The old metal stone trolls in particular, kind of the weird kind of squinty expressions and stuff they have. Absolutely dripping with character. The big bulbous noses.
And then we've got little and large.
It does look like don't ever speak to me or my son again.
Yeah.
This is
wow.
I've never seen that one on the right before. I don't remember that.
It was a Forge World one. I think it predated the Monstrous Arcanum. I think they released it around the time that 6th edition came out, when they were still kind of experimenting with making larger scale fantasy miniatures in resin.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So 2 giants return in Forge World resin, so I don't remember that one.
It was very quick, wasn't it? Like it kind of came on the scene, and then as quick as it arrived, it went again.
Well, it was like 200 quid or something as well. This is back in the early 2000s. It does feel like that base is way too small for it.
I was just going to say that.
I would be scared of it falling over.
Yeah, that is. And then we've got the. Go on, Ben. I'll let you say it.
It's the Arcane Journal. It's the flavor pamphlet.
There we go. 48-page flavor pamphlet.
With the new spell lore, which you now know is the Trolls spell lore, rules for Troll Hags, Bone Grinder Giants, and Badlands Ogre Balls, which I'm assuming is basically the Orc and Goblin Ogres as opposed to Ogre Kingdom Ogres.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then Orc and Goblins dice and cards, which probably won't last long. The dice look quite nice, though.
They do. I mean, green and red, you've got to do something different with Orcs each time. And I mean, we've had quite a few kind of green and bone or green and yellow ones in the past. So it's nice to see, something a bit different there.
Yeah, and then I think we can just briefly whiz down to the Horror Terrace. So Battle for Beta Garmin's coming out.
I will hand over to Matt at this point.
Yeah.
The enthusiasm battle passes to you.
What's your thoughts on this book then?
I can't wait. Like the previous campaign book they did was absolutely brilliant. It's full of like not just lore and stuff that we already know, but there's loads of like little extras in there that we didn't know, expanding on little mysteries and stuff like that, and then the new rules for like characters, and it's a good way of introducing new characters into an existing setting that, let's face it, as we've seen, we know how it ends, we know what's going to happen, but there's so
we're coming to the end of that narrative now, aren't we? So they need to sort of do something.
Yeah, exactly. And the only way they can do it is either they go back and revisit some older stories, which are unfinished. Personally, you've got things like the Loyalist Iron Warriors from Paramar. Mm-hmm. You've got the Disciples of the Flame, which were in fact present at Beta Garmin. You've got a number of Shattered Legion stories you could cover. There's various company focus stories from all different legions, whether they're traitor or loyalist. So I think this is a good way of like filling in those gaps and introducing new characters. And the fact that we're seeing legacy characters, which they said originally the legacy characters they weren't going to do anything with, are now cropping up in these books. I'm sorry, that's all I can do. Like, thumbs up. It's like, give us back our old characters. Thank you very much. I know
that we Shattered Legions as well, and Black Shields. I know you're big on that, aren't you? So that's pretty awesome that they're in here.
Always been interested in the Shattered Legions side of things, particularly, like Istvan. I mean, come on, you've got the Iron Warriors, Iron Hands, you've got the Raven Guard, Salamanders that were absolutely decimated, and they formed those little guerrilla fighting forces. And there's so much character in there. So, bring on Beta Garmin.
One of my favorite bits from I think Vengeful Spirit is that whole section at the beginning with the assassination attempt on Horus by like the white scars, literally white scars who've stood immobile for days, disguised as statues.
Yeah,
and fire raptors coming screaming in over the horizon to try and blow them up while they're in their tents. I'm loving that kind of opportunity to see all that stuff now on the tabletop.
Yeah. There's so many little stories that they can like pick threads away at and just go, okay, we're going to follow this one for a little bit. Next campaign book. Now we're going to follow this one and go over old content, old lore, and flush it out and bring some characters in and give us some answers to some of those mysteries. Like what happened to this character, for example, so more heresy.
Yes. Speaking of which, we've got the Solar Auxiliary as well. They've quit pretty quick. They've come out, to be honest, haven't they? After their big box.
Yeah. The popularity in these has always been quite high. I know at least a dozen people locally that wanted to do these when they were resin, and moment that they saw them in plastic, I woke up the following morning to a stream of messages via Messenger and Discord going, "Oh my God, it's finally happening." From what I've seen of them in person, because I've not really an interest in getting them for my heresy armies, but possible conversion possibilities.
Oh, definitely.
So I've asked to be sent pictures and things. From what I've seen, highly detailed. The sculpts are great. They're really fun to paint. The boxes themselves come with loads of little pouches and stuff. So, like with Marines, you can go as heavily detailed or as minimalistic as you want. And much like, go on, sorry, mate. Go on.
I was just going to say that studio color scheme, I don't think does them any favors, because I'd seen these, and I'm not really a fan of like the helmet and the aesthetic of the Solar Auxiliary. I know they're like void sealed and stuff like that, but I wasn't a fan of the color scheme either. But then I think it was Notley posted some on Twitter, Vincent Notley, and he did them with like black carapace armor and yellow jumpsuits, or like a mustard colored jumpsuits, and they looked absolutely phenomenal. And when I saw them, I was like, "Oh, actually, they're pretty nice."
Notley's great whenever a big box set comes out, because he'll get hold of these and then he'll do each one in different color schemes.
That's what he did. Yeah, and he did different examples, and it was the yellow one that made me stop and go, "Whoa, actually, that's really cool."
The community, the community article they did on them shortly after or just before they released them, I think, and they had like different people painting up the box sets.
Yeah.
And all of them took inspiration from a Solar Auxiliary regiment from the books. And the amount
the infantry's coming out, aren't they? And the
different color schemes. There's some great bits in
I
there.
like in particular are the storm section, the ones with the Volkites that you see on the side there just before you scrolled past them.
Give me the axes.
Yeah, well, the axes as well. Those guys, I really like the kind of the heavy duty reinforced armor. That one I like suddenly like much more than the way they did it for the individual ones.
Yes. I like those helmets, actually. They're pretty cool. Like, they're more of a heavy duty, like a layered up version, aren't they?
Yeah, like a diver's helmet almost kind of thing.
They put the emphasis on heavy in heavy infantry to those guys. Just
especially armed with tunes as well with Volkites. That's going to be interesting. We've got the Malkador as well.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get a couple of these.
Yeah.
I've got a resin 4-year-old Malkador Defender for my Praetorian Imperial Guard, because I really wanted to kind of distinguish them from my other guard with the kind of the Lehman Russes and stuff. And I thought taking the Malkador will make it kind of stand out as separate. And then they kind of went the plastic one. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get 2 of these then. 3 Malkadors rolling across the board, backed up my pith helmeted guardsman. It's going to have to be,
because Heresy likes its squadrons, so like let's take 3 Malkadors then, because why not?
And they've got 3 different turret options as well. Yeah, and 180 decal transfer sheet. We've got Lehman Russ as well, the auxiliary version, lots and lots of rivets.
I'm going to be getting, I know already, and not for the Solar Auxiliary, I will be getting a few of these for my guard army, because it's the closest thing I can get my hands on to the Krieg pattern.
I was going to say Krieg, they absolutely scream Krieg, don't they?
Yeah. It's the industrial feel. Like, I don't play Krieg, but I want that sort of industrial, straight out of the factory kind of look. They
look like they've just come straight off a 4-year-old, don't they? We don't have time to paint. We're going to war. What are you on about?
Exactly, yeah.
And actually, just thinking about it, the Storm section, the heavy armored Solar Auxilia, would do nice double duty as like Kazakin for a Krieg army as well, with a little bit of conversion for the heavy armored.
I knew I liked you, Ben. I knew I liked you.
And then
my wallet might not, but I do.
Dracosian or Dracosan? How do you pronounce that one?
Anyway. It feels like it should have an I in it. It feels like it should be Dracosian.
Dracosian, the armored transports. That's an interesting one as well.
It's a hefty bit of kit.
Yeah,
it does what it says on the tin. It gets your troops from A
20 troopers.
Yeah.
Well, and it mounts a demolisher cannon. It's a troop transport with a demolisher cannon.
That's just insane. And then we've got the Aethon Heavy Sentinel as well.
I want 40k rules for these. I want a squadron of these, but I want to put them in my 40k guard army because they're such a nice model.
That is pretty cool. I'd love to see that in different colours or in a camo scheme.
I would do it. I've got my main guard army, which is my Kelly's Heroes guard army, and so they're all kind of in kind of green jackets and kind of khaki trousers. And I just want to paint this up in my green camo scheme. I think it would look amazing stomping along that side next to my Russes, blitzing off kind of rocket pods and stuff.
I might catch some hate for this, but I really don't like them.
No hate here. Fair enough. It's not for everybody.
I haven't seen a colour scheme that does them justice. And I've just not.
That's the problem, the colour scheme, I think. You need to see something that really makes it pop for the particular person. Like it's like with the Auxilia guys, I didn't like them until I saw the yellow ones.
Yeah.
But and what we got next? We've got transfer sheets as well. There you go, Black Shields and Shattered Legions transfer sheets. Yeah. Interesting. I want to
get my grubby little goblin hands on them.
Those will go fast, I would suspect.
Emperor's Children. Book, and then we've got.
I love the fact how quick you just scrolled past. Emperor's Children will just.
We have been doing the news for like 25 minutes.
I was going to say we need to be moving on. Really,
there was a lot of pre-orders this week.
Back to the next bit of the news. So we'll briefly move on to the next one, which is today they put an image on, didn't they? Saying 3 days to go for the Adepticon previews. I haven't got the image. We'll add it in the post. But it looked like
suspicious silhouette.
Chaos Lord, it looks like, doesn't it?
Definitely.
First, I thought it was a Terminator until you correctly pointed out the backpack. So looks like we're getting a power armored Chaos Lord. What do you reckon?
I'm thinking either Chaos Lord or maybe some kind of new surprise, like maybe Chaos Chosen or something.
Could be,
because it does show 3 silhouettes, and that makes me wonder: is it a multi-part kit that makes like 5 Chosen with power weapons and stuff?
I think there was a rumor that there was going to be a Lord, a Sorcerer, and then perhaps something else. So it could well be
maybe Chaos version of a Lieutenant.
I'm not sure. There's been a lot of talk of like possibly a Night Lord's character or Night Lord's like hero, some description, Lord. It looks very reminiscent of the old white metal Chaos Lord with the horns, and the backpack's the same, and it has the same axe, and it's chaos. Let's face it. Whatever it is,
definitely Chaos Space Marines.
But what is it? One of those things.
I'm sure we'll be seeing more because for 2 days to go and 1 day to go, they always change up the image. But I think tomorrow will probably be something for like Underworlds or maybe a Warcry or something like that, and then maybe on 1 day to go we might see something rat related or Stormcast. Maybe just they'll tease us, won't they? It could be Kill Team. You never know. But let's move on then. That ties in nicely to the next topic for the news. It's Adepticon next week. Obviously, there's going to be tons of reveals. There was, I think last year they did the reveal for 40k 10th edition, didn't they? And showed off 2 Terminators and 3 Termagants plus a whole host of other stuff. So I've already done a video on it, so I'm not going to go on. You can watch that whenever you want. What do you think is coming for Adepticon then? Mark, let's start with you. Any predictions? You don't have to go through all the game systems. Just handpick a few if you want, or you can go through them all.
Age of Sigmar, 4th, Skaven.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Old World is going to be Dwarves. We had Orcs last time, was the last reveal, so I'm going to say Dwarves this time. And there's been a rumor engine with a Dwarven Axe. 40k, I'm going to say, is probably going to be split between like Chaos and possibly the second wave for Crew. But that might just be wishful thinking because I'm really looking forward to the Crew. Either Warcry or what else was there?
There was a little teaser, weren't there, of like an Ossiarch Bone Reaper's dog or cat or something.
Yeah, I think that's either going to be for Underworlds or Warcry.
Underworlds or Warcry, I would venture a guess with that. Yeah,
I'm kind of on the fence as to what potentially could be coming for Necromunda and Heresy. Because of the way that they've done it. This, to my knowledge, this is the first time we've had that sort of image of this is what we're going to be showing off, plus teasers from these two settings. That's new. So I'm a bit
it's a good distinction now. I think that we might not see miniatures for Necromunda and Heresy. They might do some like videos or something. So maybe Necromunda, they might move the map slightly to something new, or like you say, for an exciting tease for Horus Heresy. I think either a video or something. They're going to drop a hint like they did for Epic, where they just did that tactical map, didn't they? So it didn't show any miniatures, but sure.
Warhammer Fest, they did the same thing. They threw up the 3D rendering for the Assault Marines. They were like, "We know you want them. We are working on them. Here you go." So it could be something like that.
But previously,
if you're wishlisting, Matt, what would you like to see for Heresy? Sorry, Ben.
Breaches, Praetors, Terminator, and Power Armor 4. Are you ready for this? Salamanders, Raven Guard, Emperor's Children, not Emperor's Children, sorry, Iron Hands, Iron Warriors, Raven Guard, Salamanders, everything. There's pretty much most of the legions don't currently have Praetors, so it would be nice to see more characters coming for other legions other than just Emperors, Imperial Fist and Sons of Horus. Breaches,
Marines and Wordbearers got their Praetors.
They did, yeah. There's a few that have, but there's a certain legions of sort of been left at the wayside at this point, and I think that's causing a problem in the community because then people aren't playing them because they can't just go and buy a model and go right and paint it. It's done. But things like there's certain units that we would like to see. Breaches being one of them. We were told that all the core units would come to plastic. Breaches are a core unit; they're a troop choice. Despoilers, an actual dedicated despoiler kit. Bikes, bikes would be another one. I think that's it, really. Command squad.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to get a Mark III command squad, aren't we? They showed the silhouette of that one, so I think that one's on the horizon. Yeah. Any more for Adepticon?
No, my thing is it's going to be a good one. I've just got this gut feeling. It's the one that we're not actually going to be covering with a watch along via our stream. So I guarantee you it's going to be a good one because we'll be in bed asleep missing it all.
Yeah. Sod's law.
Yeah.
Go on then, Ben. What's your thoughts for Adepticon?
Well, I was going to say, I think it's interesting. You're right to point out that the teasers have been called out separately for the first time. And I wonder if that's because they've got a lot of grief in the past saying, oh, all of this will get, an announcement at event A. And then some of those announcements have just been a teaser. And people have been left feeling a little bit of a bitter taste in their mouth, kind of going, well, you got a huge 40K and Age of Sigmar got huge announcements. We got, a 30-second video. That was what I stayed up until 1 a.m. for. Really?
Yeah.
So separating off and saying, no, these are going to be teasers manages expectations a bit. I think that's some smart work on their social media side.
Good point.
In terms of what I think's coming, so 40K, we've had the Codex plan. You said about this in your video, Si. You had the Codex plan for the year announced already. And we've already had, the Orcs and the Custodes Votan model announced kind of as the new models for those armies. Chaos Space Marines are right up there next on the list for the codexes, so it makes sense that they would get something as part of the release, and that might be the only thing we get for 40K, but I'm hopeful we might get something a little bit extra. And I again, this is something, go watch Si's video, guys, because he absolutely gets the nail on the head on this. Imperial Agents. I think there's a lot of things that are just pointing in that direction at the moment. I mean, we've got lots of kits now. We've got the naval breaches. We've got the Adeptus Arbites models. We've got the Kill Team Inquisitor box. And they've done lots of, like little plastic Inquisitor characters over the years. They keep adding extra bits in that regard. White Dwarf this month. There's literally a rogue trader combat patrol.
I was literally just looking that up. I was about to say, isn't that in a White Dwarf already?
Well, no, but a combat patrol rules for a Rogue Trader, and it's an interesting one because it's Rogue Trader. It's basically the Rogue Trader models that were released in the Kill Team Rogue Trader box, plus 2 Imperial Naval Breach boxes, which is the one thing that put me off because I don't particularly like the Imperial Navy breaches. I might try and see if I can find something else to convert in their place. I just don't like them. It's a personal thing. But I wonder whether it might be not necessarily a giant codex, but they wouldn't need many more options. I mean, that's probably more options still at the moment than Votan have got in their army book.
Because you could have the
Rogue Traders, Arbites, Inquisitor stuff, all kind of, and Assassins all grouped into a codex. That's more than Votan have got.
I was just about to say you've got the Assassins as well.
Yeah. But so that's what I'm pondering, is whether or not that might be a surprise little, hey, look at this. And maybe it's not as big of a full-size codex as some other armies get, but I think they wouldn't need to add much. Maybe just give them options of, a unique transport or something, which, again, release one model. That's pretty much what they've been doing for the other armies is, hey, here's Orcs with a new model. It wouldn't take much for them to do that on this. But that's
one new Inquisitor or one new transport or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's my thought on that.
I mean, that would be historically accurate for Imperial agents. Like, you think of the old Inquisition Codex, that was absolutely minuscule for what you got in it. So,
I mean, and they brought little codexes out before, haven't they? I mean, the Deathwatch Codex, when that came out, I think the 8th edition one, I think it was.
Yes.
It might even have been the 7th edition one. It was really paper thin. There wasn't much in it. But again, it was its own codex. It wasn't a supplement. So, could well be. What about the rest?
Age of Sigmar it's going to be 4th edition, like we talked about last week. It's going to be Stormcast versus Storm Vermin. And I am absolutely convinced at this point, having watched the little kind of teaser that they threw up this week, I'm convinced that it's going to be kind of uber, like the warp lightning powered versions of Stormcasts.
Well, they did the Hope Cast into Ruin video, didn't they?
Yeah.
That came out. I clicked publish on Sunday night on my video. Now, as I clicked it, I refreshed the Warhammer community page and it appeared, and I was like, well, I've edited it now, so it's fine.
Oh, no.
But that's warp lightning, isn't it? It can't be anything else. But everybody knew it was Skaven anyway. There's been that push fit leak, but is there anything else?
Well, for Age of Sigmar, I don't think so. I think that it's all going to be 4th edition all the time. I think we'll probably see whatever the new version of Liberators are. I would imagine those are going to get a replace for this box. Maybe some new Retributors or something like that as well to replace those models that are just quite clunky left over from 1st edition at this point. Warcry, I think, is where the Ossiarchs are going to come in because they don't have their own Warcry warband yet. They do have an Underworlds warband. So there was an Ossiarch there was an Ossiarch Bone Reapers warband done for Underworlds. So I think there isn't one for Warcry, and pretty much every Warcry warband in the last 10 releases have come with an animal companion. So that's where I think the Give a Dog a Bone's coming in.
Oh, yeah. Really?
Yeah. It's a dog. It's a dog that can go fetch itself. Kill Team. I'm torn on Kill Team. I think you've got some good points about Votan in your video, Si, about them being the possibility of the Hernkin Pioneers or something on foot.
Dismounted. Yeah, I mean, cool. I can't take credit for that one. That's just me.
Oh, take the credit.
I just heard that rumor, so I just thought I'd repost it. I mean, my ideal Kill Team would be Stingwings or something like that versus I don't know, what have we not had? Gene Stealer cults maybe, but I think
one.
Vespid are further down the line, I think, and Sweeping Hawks are further down the line as well.
I'm really hoping Eldar Exodites is what I would really like, because they did a video last year that was like Kill Team and it was on a jungle planet, and we then got the Striking Scorpions and the Scouts, but they've released on a kind of an urban board instead.
We're still on that same planet that the Galadat crashed onto, so there's sea platforms and industrial rigs, but there is a jungle on that planet as well, so they could shift the setting further inland. Then we might end up with Exodites. We might end up with...
that's what I feel is missing for Eldar at this point. I would love to see some little dragon riding Eldar zooming around on back of dinosaurs.
Exodites would be really cool. It's a different aesthetic, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And it's the only kind of Eldar that they haven't brought forward into the modern kind of range yet.
Yeah, because they brought they did Crosshairs.
Yep. The Corsairs are really cool as well. With Animal Companion, it's birds. Everything is all birds at that point.
Yeah, Corsairs would be cool.
And then, what do you think for Old World?
So,
Are you on?
It's dwarves. I mean, it's got to be dwarves. We've
Gotta
seen
be,
the dwarves.
I mean, we've seen the dice, haven't we? And
I am assuming we will get, like they did with Orcs the day after the Old World release weekend, where they suddenly went, oh, by the way, here's all the stuff that's coming back. And there was much rejoicing. I'm assuming we might get the same thing for dwarves. And maybe get a sneaky peek of what new models are coming. I mean, I'm really hoping that someone somewhere has found like the CAD for the multi-part plastic Dwarf Lord kit that was created and designed and never released, because they've
I've never seen that.
Have you not?
No.
I covered it in a previous video. It included parts to make a Dwarf Lord on foot, Dwarf Lord on Oathstone, and multi-part shield bearers. So you can have a Dwarf Lord on a shield, which is obviously one of the options at the moment. I covered it in I couldn't tell you which video it is. I covered it in one of my many Old World videos going, hey, look at this, Games Workshop. Why not this? But
why did you not do this?
Exactly. That is what I'm expecting. What I would be pleasantly surprised by would be if they also then teased like the next army coming after that. I know they said in the Old World Almanac today that, we've got years to do all of these other races. It's going to take us a while to bring all these models back. Yeah. Hurry up and get on with it, guys. We want more models.
Yeah, we already know everything's planned way ahead. Get on with it.
Yeah, exactly. So it'd be nice if they also teased that.
Yeah, they've teased that, and then they've said once they've got all the factions back, who knows what could be coming in the future. So those players that have got like Dark Eldar and the armies that weren't in the 9
legacy armies,
yeah, hope is not lost, I would say.
Well, we already know from what they've done with Heresy.
Yeah,
here's your legacy lists. We're not going to do anything with these. 3 months later. Oh, by the way, here's 2 Iron Hands characters from Legacies that we said we weren't going to do anything with.
I think Dark Elves stand the best chance of all the legacy armies of getting a reappearance because Battle of Finnable Plain is basically the last big battle before the Great War against Chaos. And it would be crazy not to do a supplement at some point in the future of, hey, High Elves versus Dark Elves. But so the other 2 are the teasers. So I like your point about obviously getting the core units out for Horus Heresy. I think that makes a lot of sense. What I would be pleasantly surprised to be would you see if they teased Mechanicus stuff in plastic.
Yeah.
Like the Mechanicus have lists. They've done the Solar Auxilia. So the next logical choice is to do stuff like the Thalaxi and the Secutari and all the kind of the different Magos units. Start changing those over to plastic as well.
Yeah, convert the resin for the bulk of the resin, your core stuff for the Mechanicum over to plastic. Yeah,
and then they give us rules for using those with Mechanicus in 40k as well, because we know they still use everything that's in there. Thalaxi and all that stuff and Osirax are all used still in the 41st millennium.
To be fair, my other theory when it comes to the Heresy stuff, because it's a teaser, is we're going to get another teaser for the next Primarch.
Maybe.
Because they did say when they released or when they previewed Horus Ascended, they said that all the Primarchs were going to be getting a second sculpt, both Loyalist and Traitor.
Yeah.
And by the end of the Heresy, you had 3-4 of them that had ascended to Demonhood.
Yeah,
including
Lorgar, I think. Lorgar, new one.
Fulgrim, Angron, Magnus,
Mortarion.
Well,
we got Fulgrim, didn't we? We got Fulgrim transfigured, didn't we?
We've got Fulgrim. We've got Horus.
There's 3 other demon ones to do.
Yeah.
The one that would make everybody absolutely lose their minds would be if they just like teased like a tiny tip of like the Emperor's Lightning Claw or something, and everyone absolutely loses their minds.
There's rules.
No, exactly, but there's no model.
There is rules in one of the books for Valdor, which says if the Emperor is on the table.
Exactly. Imagine if its teaser was just like a little clip, from the famous artwork where you can see his lightning claw. Imagine if it was just like the tips of his lightning claws. And
if I wake up
with some
Thursday
steps
morning
in the background
to that teaser, if I wake up Thursday morning, right, to that as a teaser, you are going to hear me wherever you are in the world just going
without the internet. We'll be able to hear you. Cool.
My final one, Necromunda.
Yeah, I was going to say Necromunda.
I think rat skins. Because they did that Beastmaster with very obviously kind of giant rats as the kind of the outworlds thing. And I think they've been looking for a way to reinvent the rat skins. And I think that might be kind of the stepping stone to them then teasing that that's going to be the next big Outland gang.
Excellent. And that lets me segue nicely into the next section. Is we've got a community question. So like we did last week, somebody's asked a question from the community. This one was Zach Lasalsa on Twitter. I hope I've said your name right. Basically, it is, what is your favorite Necromunda kit? So I might as well go first. I like them all basically, but if I was to pick a gang, I would probably say the Orcs, because that was the gang I had as a kid, and I like the new Orcs as well. But if I was going to go for an actual kit, I like the new Squats tank thing that they've just brought out, the Squat Prospectors. I forget the name of the tank, but I really like that. I think that's awesome. I like the new Squat Miners as well. If you take the hard hat off the front of some of them as well, where you can actually see the inside of the helmet and the little grubby faces. Yeah, so Squat Prospector, whatever the tank thing that they've just released, I like that, and the Venator as well.
Sorry. Just thank you for bringing that.
Everyone just had a vision of Elysian drop troops then, and like, Venator.
Yeah, just like, happy times.
Go on, Matt. What's your favorite Necromunda kit?
So I can't actually really answer this one. I have only built one, and that is the Squats. That's it. They're the only me and the missus actually have the Ash Waste box set. We've had it since the release day, and we haven't touched it. I did have, back in the day, I did have Orcs, all the old white metal ones that you didn't have to build, you just painted. But the only Necromunda gang I actually own is the Squats. And it was just purely and simply, I'm getting them because I'm getting Votan. I like dwarfs in space.
Who doesn't? I will say special mention Dustpack Hellamites as well. I love them just because the big flea riding madmen, so they're pretty cool as well. Ben, favorite Necromunda kit?
So I struggled on this one because I've got like 4 or 5 Necromunda gangs. I've been using Cawdor a lot recently in some games with some friends. But I mean, I love the Palatine Enforcers kit. I love the Escher kit. They're all really cool. So I struggled to think about it, and I came to the conclusion that actually my favorite Necromunda kit is the Zone Mortalis scenery.
Oh,
the all kind of the little towers and walls, and the fact that it all fits the way that the guy who designed this kit, the scenery kits from Necromunda, is an absolute certified genius. Every single Necromunda scenery kit they have released fits together and is interchangeable. So you can use, the columns from one set with the catwalks from the Gang Fortress, with the towers from the Hab Zone complex stuff from the Ash Waste
stuff.
Everything scales together, fits together beautifully. It is the work of somebody who actually showed dedication and real kind of, the commitment, the stuff that he puts out on Twitter when they released them. And he's like, I played around with these, and here are, 75 different ways you can assemble these kits, mixing and matching them together. No, it's genius.
Yeah.
I've got a giant box down here just behind me, which is filled to the brim with Necromunda scenery. Another one over there, which is some of the Necromunda scenery.
I've never built any of the scenery. Never built any, but I did get a 3-hour lecture from our resident Necromunda fanatic on our channel Discord of exactly how awesome that terrain is. So
he managed to fit it into 3 hours. I mean, that's saying something, because it's so awesome. I could talk for longer about it.
No, it is pretty cool. I mean, Necromunda, I think it's such an underrated playground and environment for a game. When you think it's one planet in the entire Imperium, it's phenomenal, because you've got the hives, you've got the Ash Waste, and I love the fact that they're exploring the Ash Waste. I want them to do some sort of enforcer marshal who lives out in the Ash Waste. He's got like a long trench coat
on a long walk, by any chance.
Exactly. An enforcer marshal with like a bit of a dust mask on. He's got like a giant shotgun or something like that, and he's just like some guy who goes out on his own, and he's like Marshall Brave style, but doing the long walk. You know where I'm going with it.
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, just something like that. And I'd like them to see do something with that Scum Lake as well. There's a lake town or something, isn't there? I can't remember what it's called.
Way down at the sun.
Yeah. Well, no, sorry, not in the hive.
Oh no, okay.
Out on the map, there's one. I think it's Scum Lake or something like that. And they hinted that there's some sort of town or settlement on the edge of this lake. So I'd love to see them explore something like that as well.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why all hobbyists keep their stack of books directly behind them, as Ben is currently showing off. Just like,
I'd get my source book, but I'd probably fall off my chair if I lean too far back. So
I'm just checking the map to see which one you're talking about.
To be fair, when we were talking about the Beta Gam book earlier, I nearly reached round for the other campaign book they did. I was like, oh, by the way, yeah, it's here.
So what we'll do next, while you're looking for that, is I'll just explain to Matt what we're doing with Warhammer 20 questions. So that's our next bit of fun before we wrap up. So basically, what usually happens is Luke will pick a character or a unit or a HQ, something like that from any game setting. So it could be fantasy, it could be 40k, Necromunda, Blood Bowl, whatever. And you and Ben this time have got 20 questions. I can only answer yes or no, and I'm going to make a note of your questions. Your final and 20th question will have to be the guess of what it is, unless you get there beforehand. I think last week it was Lord Solar Leontus.
It was the dude on the robotic horse.
Yeah,
Marshall Bravestar again. Got that one twice today. Quite impressed. So that was the guess, and we narrowed it down to 41st Millennium, then the Imperium, then a hero, then Imperial Guard, I think, wasn't it? And then Tabletop Tom very wisely said, is he a HQ? Did he have a model? And then you asked, did he ride a horse? And then basically it was a given from that one. So this time I'll pick the character or the unit because Luke is not here. By the way, I didn't mention that at the start of the video. We've got the keys. Luke's on holiday. Yay! But he'll be back.
Trying not to crash this thing.
Yeah, we're trying not to burn it down. So yeah, I'll pick you guys.
Great, guys.
You guys can decide amongst yourselves who's going to go first. I've got the character in my head, or the unit, or the troop of units in my head, or what it's going to be. Fire away.
I think guests go first would seem to be the polite way.
Yeah, okay, guests go first. So fire away, Matt. I can only answer yes or no.
40k? Is it 40k? Or is it from the 40k?
Yes.
Okay. Are you human?
Yes.
Okay. Rules out the Xenos races.
So 41st Millennium, and I'm a human.
Yeah. Do you belong to one of the Space Marine chapters?
No.
Are you loyal to the Emperor?
Yes.
Okay.
You have had 4 questions.
A male?
Yes.
Do you have a Games Workshop miniature?
No.
Okay.
Ooh.
6 questions. I'm just going to double check. Well, pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
God damn it.
In fact, no, it doesn't.
Doesn't.
No.
Doesn't have a miniature.
No.
Male, 40k, human.
Not a Space Marine.
Not a Space Marine. Well, I had to rule it out.
No, it's worth checking.
Are you part of the Imperial Guard? Oh,
yes.
Sorry, the Astra Militarum.
It's the Guard. Have you appeared in a Black Library novel?
Yes.
Okay, Black Library. Well, it doesn't have to be a main. Couldn't be a main. Doesn't necessarily have to be a main character. Bear in mind, but it's a character of the Imperial Guard that's appeared in Black Library.
So that's a lot to choose from.
Well, now we can start narrowing it down.
Yeah. Are you a commissar?
Yes.
Damn it. Is your name alliterative?
Yes.
Now we get to have fun with the questions.
Yes, there you go. Presuming I've understood you correctly. Yes.
Yep.
Are you an out-and-out coward?
No.
Do you like a nice cup of Tanner?
Yes. 12 questions.
When do we put him out of his misery? Or
at least until like question 17. We keep playing with it until then.
Listen, bear in mind when you asked me was I an out and out coward, and I went, no. You saw the sarcasm in that, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
How dare you?
How dare you? Have you released memoirs?
I don't know. Yes.
Do you have a particularly malodorous aid?
Yes. 15 questions. Oh no, 14 questions. Sorry. You could ask what regiment I fight. Do I fight with a certain regiment?
Yeah. Do you fight with the Valhallans?
Yes.
Is your favourite Space Marine chapter the Space Wombles?
No.
Sorry, Reclaimers chapter.
Yes.
Who, incidentally, I'm still disappointed that Sandy Mitchell has not yet managed to get a joke in there about the walking 500 miles to get something and then walking 500 more.
For a pot of calf or something. Yeah. 16 questions.
I can.
Would you like to make a guess, Matt?
Yeah, because I can't think of anything more funny to come up with for this character.
You've tortured me.
Yeah, Simon, you're terrible at this. Your poker face is non-existent. I'm afraid.
I'm laughing at him when he's asking me, "Am I a fan of the Space Wombles?" That killed me.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, are you by any chance Cyphers Kane?
Yeah, hero of the Imperium. I shall have you know. Yes, well done. Undefeated, Ben. Well done.
Yes, we are still. We've not yet managed to lose one of these.
Yes, I am Kane, indeed.
We came close, I think, in one of the earlier ones when Luke picked a particular, squat prospector special character.
Yeah, some random. Yeah, I don't even think it was a special character, was it? Oh, yeah, it was a special.
No, it was
character.
the one with the particularly awesome smoking pipe.
Yeah, I was going to go. I was going to go with Niall Stormcaller's Cyber Raven.
Do you have feathers? Would have been a question.
You should have done that.
Is it Nightwing? I can't remember what it's called.
I actually can't remember.
Yeah, well, that's why I didn't do it, because I thought, hang on, is it Nightwing? I couldn't remember his name, but I thought that would be a good one because we were talking about animal familiars and stuff. But I thought I'd go a bit easy. But yeah, well done. That was good fun. Yeah, Gareth Kane. So anyway, that brings us to the end of the podcast. We're just about at the right time anyway. So before we wrap up, bit of housekeeping again. Don't forget to listen to us on Spotify, and also Matt. So tell us, what do you normally get up to on your social media? Tell people a bit about you and where can they find you on social media and on the webs.
So currently you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, Bluesky, and Twitch. We do streaming majority of the time, Thursdays and Sunday evenings. We run Discord, and for us it's all about promoting positive mental health through the medium that is Warhammer. Which
is something we'd love to get you back on and talk about in more detail as well.
Heck yeah.
Happy to, anytime.
So what we'll do is we'll drop links in the for your channels and your socials in the video description and stuff like that as well.
Cool.
Anything else is that all of them where they can find you?
Yeah, that's pretty much. We had dialed it back a little bit on socials a little bit.
And are you on the Blue Sky and Threads and so forth? There's the Miniatures Apothecary. Is that what we can best find you?
Yeah, pretty much. It's the same across the board. No point in complicating things. Mrs. Apothecary is on TikTok and does share some hobbying stuff on there occasionally. But she's not a big fan of social media. She's fine with streaming. Social media, she can take it or leave it.
Cool. All right, excellent. Well, we'll drop those links in there. Ben, what have you been up to and where can people find you?
As ever, I can be found on my own channel as 90% Geek and on all the various Blue Sky threads. I don't tend to use threads that much, but Instagram, Twitter, I do have a 90% Geek Facebook page that I keep forgetting to update, which is probably why it has no followers. But at some point I'll remember to update it, and then there'll be followers on there. Yeah, you can always find me on the Morehammer Discord as well. Come and join us there, join the conversation. And yeah, I'll be back with my usual Friday video this week. Yet more Space Marine successor chapters. This week it's the Nova Marines and the Silver Skulls.
Excellent. Brilliant. As for myself, I'm on YouTube as Hobby Waffle. Same for Twitter and Instagram. I've not yet touched TikTok or Blue Sky yet, but I probably will do. And I do have a Facebook page as well that I always forget to update. But in terms of channel content, I've just done a Adepticon preview video with some guesswork and some predictions and some educated guesses, just a bit of fun. And I'll probably do a video covering all the stuff that gets revealed on Thursday morning as well, but it won't be at 3 a.m. I can assure you of that. So just to finish off then, don't forget, we're on Spotify. So if you want to have a listen, you can listen on there. Please do come and join the Discord. Post pictures of all your hobby stuff on there. We love looking at all the pictures and getting all excited about other people's stuff, and it gives us ideas as well for the hobby, but we just have a bit of fun on there as well. Don't forget to visit Ben and Matt's channels as well. Just to finish off then, I just want to say thank you to Matt for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. You're our second ever guest, and we'd love to get you back as well, to, as I said earlier, to talk about more mental health. So yeah, please do come back
anytime.
Excellent. And then that's all that's left to say is thank you everyone for watching wherever you are, or listening wherever you are, and happy wargaming. See you later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.